Certruth, you can't handle the truth.
I think that there's some weird audio issue with the last one where it would say that they were synced up, and then I'd upload the video, and then our voices would be off at a certain point, or they'd start fine. But that was last episode, and hopefully we're moving on to this one. So this is episode 3 of the Certruth. I am Max Certruth, and I'm joined with my co-host, Coach Marty O'Brien. And here we are, episode 3.
We did it. Can you believe it? We made it.
Hopefully, everybody who watched the last video kind of got a feel for what's going to go on soon and how this is going to play out. But we were supposed to have a guest today, soccer captain, basketball captain, John Maniaca. But
had him in class. Great student.
Yeah, he had other things to attend to, but that's all right. We're here now, and Coach Marty, thank you for coming on today. This is exciting.
Yeah, happy to be here, and I think, again, there were fantastic reviews from the last episode, so we're pumped to, I think we're kind of closing out winter sports here at Fian.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in professional sports. We can talk about that too. But spring's upon us.
Yeah.
Right? You feeling good? You got the T-shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
I want to show everybody the brand there.
Certruth T-shirts. We're almost sold out. So if you want one, you can just message the Certruth account. But no, like you said, winter sports are kind of coming to an end here, but I think something that we can focus on, we can start, because this is a great segue into it, is the girls basketball kind of climaxing right now, because this Friday they go on the second round of the playoffs, I believe. I could be wrong, but I do believe it's the second round.
Second or third, yeah.
And they're facing Bridgewater Raynham, and it's going to be absolutely wild, because last game they went up against I want to say
Franklin, right?
Yeah. And, Franklin, who I think was the something low, like 32 seed, and we were the 2 seed, but they put up a good fight. And, Fian clutched at the end. But it was an insane game, and it was such good energy in there. And this Friday, so we're, as of right now, we're recording this on March 9th, I believe.
Thursday, March 9th. Yep, so playing tomorrow, right? March 9th.
So hopefully we can report on that, and hopefully it goes well. I don't know if you saw it, Coach Marty, but the last game, I did an interview with 3 of the players. I did Sam Reel, Charlotte Adams, and Maddie Steele, and they had insane games. It's so interesting seeing how Maddie Steele and Charlotte Adams, I know them. They're good friends of mine.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're
What grades are they?
Sophomore. And it's crazy to see how big of an impact they have on the team just for being sophomores. It's wild.
Amazing.
Yeah. Hopefully we can
bright future, building a dynasty, Coach Dolores.
Yeah, and it's their maturity in the game of basketball is absolutely wild. And Coach Marty, we were talking about this, but hopefully I'll put up a clip right here, a little clip from my interview.
Now, Maddie and Chuck here, both being sophomores on the team, but they play a huge part. Chuck, you've been doing insane this season. Obviously, you've been having a real physical season, really great passing, great handling options. Now, I wanted to talk to you about your kind of power on the team, and I want to talk about your game today, because it was a great game. How do you feel that you maintain your focus and you kind of stay cool throughout the entire game? What do you find that helps you the most?
It's all about preparation through practice, and the players in practice pushing us to our limits, and then coach obviously keeping us in the game, and the team energy together.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Now,
you can see there, Chuck and Maddie had great answers, and so did Sam. But hopefully those girls and the rest of the team really have a hard-fought season right now, or they have one, but I hope they finish it through to the end Friday. Yeah.
So what are their strengths? I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm getting back into sort of the high school sports scene overall.
Yep.
And it's interesting, again, from a coach. I think one cool thing is I could bring a coach's perspective, you a player's perspective. Is kind of interesting to see how teams are built, and from the coaching angle what happens. But what would you say their strengths are? Why are they winning?
So although I'm not I don't want to limit them to this, but something I have noticed, because that's something I was looking at. I got to say, just those 3 girls that I interviewed the other day, I did notice Maddie Steele, that game, an insane amount of threes, sharp shooting, no one's business. It was electric. I think she definitely made a majority of the shots she took from the 3. She did really good. Charlotte Adams, everybody calls her Chuck. She had insane handling that game. She had really good ball control. She had a couple threes, and she was just really aggressive, powering through down the center, getting those layups. And Sam Reel, combining those two also. She's a captain.
Yep.
She had really she was playing aggressive defense. She created so many turnovers, and in my interview, I accidentally said she had a lot of turnovers, and she corrected me.
Yeah, she knows her game.
Yeah. But no, she was creating so many turnovers, and it was just like they were all. It was really, really like a beautiful thing to see them all work and kind of like in unison, just like mixing that together.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And how were the Fanatics? They were going crazy.
Oh, Fanatics are crazy. I think Mrs. Smith's Math.
Oh
has,
I
Instagram
follow her.
page.
Yeah, follow her Instagram.
She got a good video. I think the Fanatics that was one of their better games. I'd say.
Yeah, I know, because playing a sort of a local rival is sometimes difficult because you never know how they're going to show up.
Yep.
So I know there was a big push to show up strong for the Fiam Fanatics.
Yeah, and tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day theme, so there's no telling what people
Wow.
are going to pull up with.
Coming to our gym for that,
Yep.
huh? That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that's with the
Cool.
Shamrock in the middle. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better theme you could do.
And that's the only sport playing, right? Because I think girls hockey just lost.
Yep, and I think boys hockey's been over.
Yep.
And
Boys hoops lost pretty recently.
But kind of like you said, spring is here, and if you pop into the locker room, you can see people getting ready for the lacrosse lifts. So lacrosse is coming up. And like Coach Marty, are you? What do you think? How do you think this season's going to go?
I don't know. It's funny because every single year I'm learning. There's a lot of crossover between the football team and lacrosse team, and I have some lacrosse players as well the last couple of years. So for me, I'm still learning the game overall.
Yep.
My college, Union College, has been successful in the past. I think last year they went to the national championship.
Oh, wow.
In Division III. So it's becoming more and more a part of my life. I'd say. So I don't know. I'm interested to learn a little bit more. What about you? Are you a fan?
Yeah, well, I've never been like a big lacrosse guy because it's, even in America, it's like a newer sport. It's Canadian, I think.
Yeah, I know it's been more prevalent around the country in the United States. I know like upstate New York and like the DC area and everything like that. That's where it kind of like started to build itself, I think. And it's cool. There was a cool documentary on the PLL, Professional Lacrosse League, which is interesting to see because that's a league that was building up, and they're trying to be, the premier professional league in the country. So in the documentary, there's a lot of history about lacrosse. So that's kind of how I'm learning as well. It's just I need to figure out the rules. Like, I don't know anything that's going on besides shooting the ball in the net. So I think that's one thing. But I know like Joe Dez last year was talking a lot about lacrosse. We had some guests and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could touch on a lot of stuff right there because you said with the PLL. Kind of like it is interesting because the whole last episode we were talking about building media, how you build media, different approaches to it, and stuff with the PLL. Like lacrosse, it isn't that popular, but it's a growing movement, and
Correct.
you see that with stuff like the XFL now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and you just see like all these like developments of like different sports, and it's great. But to kind of touch on what you were saying, I didn't know much about lacrosse, but last year when I was with Joe Dez and we did like all the training and stuff for announcing,
cool.
it started pretty much with lacrosse. So it would be me and him.
This is like your first sport, your baby.
Yeah, lacrosse is kind of like I'm excited for it because it brings me back to freshman year when me and Joe
all the way back to freshman year,
all the way
right?
back to 9 or something months ago. But when me,
So you guys were doing.
we would go up
games?
there, and I remember Joe we'd have the box here, and he'd have the 2 mics, and he would, it was so fun, because I remember we'd be announcing, and then Joe would be like, all right, do you want to get these next 5 minutes and try to do play-by-play? And I was so nervous, and then I'd go, yeah, sure, I'll try. And then he'd, flick a switch or whatever, and then all of a sudden he'd hand the mic to me, and then I'd start trying to do play-by-play. And as we kept going game after game, it just got more fun, and I could I started seeing the rules more. So lacrosse, to me, it's like, I actually do love it. I love watching and announcing the lacrosse boys, because I know a lot of them from last year, and same thing with the girls team. And it's just like, it's so cool because it's like, that's one thing that I weirdly know is like, I know about lacrosse, and hopefully, because we were talking about this last episode, but this season for lacrosse, I have, like we talked about him last episode too, my friend Patrick Martin, he's helping me set up huge, and I think, I don't know if I've told you this yet, but this is going to be kind of like
breaking news?
Yeah, breaking news. The Certruth is going to start our whole account, and we'll put it up on the YouTube, and I'll have some teasers up in the Instagram too. I'm gonna start doing I'm gonna start filming every game on the turf, and then I'm gonna overlap it with my
that's a great
play-by-play
idea.
competition,
Yeah.
because so many people have asked me So many parents have been like, when I'm out of town and I want to watch my kid's game, where can I see that?
Oh,
And,
that's a perfect idea.
so this is I'm so excited to start this because my friend Patrick's gonna help me out. He's gonna help me get some of the stuff working. But as soon as that's rolling, I'm gonna have like the film for everything, and then I'll get to like overlap it so people can just go back, watch their game, watch their highlights or whatever. I can start putting together like little highlight reels from it, so it's going to be
very
awesome.
cool.
So this whole kind of thing of lacrosse, it's kind of like,
So now, would you potentially, if the timing's right, would you mix in like your sideline interviews and things like
oh
that?
yeah, I mean yeah, there's so much opportunity
Yeah.
here, and I'm excited to do that too. Hopefully. Because I don't know if you've been up in the booth, Coach. Oh yeah, you have.
Yeah, I mean, for like coaching
Yeah.
football games, I'm up
Right.
on the very top, the
Yeah.
crow's nest, and then like the booth where there's like Coach Winter does the
Yeah.
the announcements. That's a level below me, but yeah,
Right.
so I've been in that area.
So there's that camera right there. Kind of looks like the projector
Yeah.
almost. There's that camera that swivels. Hopefully, I'm looking if I can
think
get
it's the
access
huddle
to
cam.
that.
Is that the huddle camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think does it track like which side?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know on the field. I mean, I've seen the feed on YouTube
Yeah.
for like the gym.
Yeah.
The gym feed. So it's always tricky on the outdoor one because the field's bigger, obviously, and it's outdoors.
Right.
So figuring out how to do that more efficiently, I think, would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be. It's gonna be so cool because I think, stuff like the last episode. Even I'm glad how many people tuned in, but like that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it more interesting and visually appealing. So for people to be able to like watch like their highlights and stuff, it's gonna be awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting, the improvement. I know we were just talking before the show, but whatever this thing could be.
Kind of touching more on. Here's another little segue into a new section I've been thinking of. There's been a lot of recently around FIAN. A lot of photography pages have been popping up. There's students
Really?
doing like active photography. I'll see if I can pull some up. Two that I'm aware of right now. Shout out. Let me see the name of it. Gamble's Lens and Breslin Photography.
Okay, Abby Gamble?
Abby Gamble
Yeah,
and
all right.
Breslin, Finland. They've been doing it for the basketball season. They've been doing photography pages and they're really good photos.
Future guests, maybe?
Yeah, I would be
Yeah.
honored.
Write that one down.
Yeah, we could definitely have them on the pod. But what's cool is that what they do. Hopefully, if we could get them like on the show or whatever, hopefully we can maybe we could even have them like filming some stuff on the sidelines. So while I'm doing the commentary, maybe we could
That's a
have,
good idea.
Yeah, or not even them, but like just in the future, people who want to do that, maybe they're interested in filming the sidelines.
Perhaps Certruth turns into some kind of production company
Oh yeah,
at that
that would,
point,
that
right?
would be cool. Maybe
Yeah.
a couple years.
We
down
need some
the road.
investors, huh?
Yeah, that would be awesome. We get maybe
That's a
some
good idea. I
sponsors.
didn't know that. So I've seen Abby a little bit. I had her in class last semester.
Right.
Like taking photos and stuff on the sidelines.
Yeah.
is that kind of what are they doing it for
Yeah,
themselves?
so I'll see if
or-
I can pull one up here. They do. They just. I think the boys basketball. Well, I know. The Breslin, she does other schools too, but I think Abby, she does like the boys basketball, and then the FIAN Fanatics will use some of her pictures too.
Oh, very cool.
To kind of like post like
Yep.
yeah. So here's some of them
Nice.
that I've seen.
Hopefully you can
But
cut
they're
it
not-
into
they're
the.
not bad,
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
for the viewers at home, we're gonna have to.
yeah,
get that posted
I'll
on
try
there.
to put one up right here.
Yeah.
Credit
Yeah.
to Abby. But no, stuff like that. It's people who are like her page brought a lot of attention to the boys basketball games.
Yep.
And hopefully this new attachment that we have to the channel can kind of do that for lacrosse. And then kind of going into more spring sports to want to talk about baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because I don't know much about baseball because there wasn't a lot of announcing opportunity.
Yep.
But hopefully we can integrate the Certruth with some of the baseball.
That'd be
boys
cool.
too.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I've tried to make more time. I played baseball in high school and growing up, so certainly interested in the sport. And Coach Winter, Mr. Winter here, chat with him a bunch about the team and what's going on. So I'm interested to kind of, see a little bit more of that. And then also softball. It's actually right out here, right outside the Dorn Center. So watching some of those games too, interested in seeing some more sports. So we'll see. I don't know if they'll have a pitch clock though, like the MLB. Have you been following that at all?
I'm not a big MLB guy.
Yeah.
They call. I have a very short attention span. They call. They call baseball. What is that? America's pastime.
America's
But
pastime.
it's not America's sport.
Interesting.
So
yeah.
that's
What
I
is
heard.
football?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think football is considered America's sport and baseball the pastime because baseball 9 innings
pastime.
it gets
Oh, yeah.
pretty long.
Yeah.
But you know, I have respect for the sport completely. I have a cousin that almost made it to the major leagues.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and it's just cool because, you know, everybody has their own story, no matter the sport. So it's.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing, at the professional level, they're doing a lot of cool stuff to try to speed up the game.
Yep.
I think because generally the fans, the average age of the fans, something like 52 years old.
Yeah.
So they need to figure out, for a lot of reasons, but they need to figure out how to lower that down.
Yep.
Some of that's the pitch clock that they're doing. Some of it's the change in shift rules and pitching rules. So they're trying, just like every other sport, to put more offense into the sport.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's going to be new this year. It's already impacted the preseason, the spring training.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. It'd be better for the sport. And, you know, of course, at the lower levels, college and, you know, even minor leagues and then certainly high school, like those folks emulate what's happening with the professionals. So we'll see if that kind of trickles down where the game takes less time overall.
Yeah, and, you know, kind of talking about, like, the audience, you keep seeing, like, especially, like, in the major league stuff now, people are starting to find new ways of entertainment. I want to talk about, like, college sports, too. You know, there's a big fandom around college sports because it's not always about the major leagues. And it's like, well, I want to maybe get your input on this. Like, what do you think it is about the college sports that kind of brings in their own fan group, kind of compared to, like, the major leagues?
Yeah, I mean, at the major league level, the professional level, it's professional sports.
Right.
You know, there's a lot that goes into that. I think, I think at the college level, you still have it sort of in its a little bit more pure form.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things are changing now, especially at the very, very top with some of the stuff with paying players and being able to use your brand and build your brand. But I think overall, what I love about college sports is, you know, a sport like football, college football, probably one of my favorites, is you still have sort of that pageantry. You have a community involved. You know, oftentimes it's the entire town that shuts down and goes to a game and things like that. So that's what I love about that whole atmosphere. March Madness, maybe we'll hit on that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I am, candidly, I am not a fan of regular season college basketball.
Right.
I don't watch any, to be honest with you.
Yeah, personally, I haven't either.
So we're probably on the same page.
Right.
But once we get to the madness, I mean, you can't help but watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so fun. There's brackets all over the place. There's like 1 million games on at a time. There's just so much energy around it. So that's when I get excited about it and I get back into it. What about you?
Oh yeah, so I can only account everything you said as being correct. I don't really I don't watch the regular season stuff, but March Madness is so fun. You know, my brother goes to Virginia Tech, so sometimes the games are on because my dad watches them. But in general, I don't really see a lot of that. But we were talking about college sports. What is interesting is, like, you kind of talk about college sports having their own form of, like, purity, and you kind of see how that kind of adaptation is made by the players going into, like, the professional league if they make it there. So I wanted to talk to you about, recently the NFL Combine was hosted.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. Something you see, like, the players are adapting, and it's the college level. What happens on the college level is changing the way the professional level is going to be played. Because I'm seeing now, like, for example, like, these are some of the fastest linemen, like, in the
ridiculous.
NFL Combine ever. You got dudes that are like 280 pounds running like a 4.5 and stuff, and it's like, whoa. Yeah.
It's a wild world, right? What's crazy about that whole thing is, like, you know, if we're talking specifically about the NFL Combine,
Right.
It's made for TV.
Yeah.
So, you know, there is some of that's involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the stuff too, I mean, is a little bit showy, like, you know, what I just mentioned there. So, like, how much of it really translates into, like, football?
Yeah.
So there's a balance of that. You know, I get excited. I put it on in the background. I actually watch it for some of, like, drills to use. So you might see this upcoming year in the fall, you might see some drills to potentially use from there, because it's a cool way to kind of get, you know, for them, it's a cool way to get going to be professionals, figure out their skill set and build on their skill set a little bit more and really test what they're doing. So I enjoy it. I think it's fun. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens in sort of that non-playing season, that it's just another month or weekend on the calendar for, you know, professional football. So it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
Do you watch all 100 hours of it? Or
No,
what?
no.
You and your buddies sit around the corner?
Sit
around the couch?
No, but what I do, you know, because, you know, we constantly keep saying, you know, the phrase, like media, always this like the growth of media, the different expansion of media. But the way I see a lot of this stuff is on social media.
Yep.
And it's like a lot of my feed, it's always like sports stuff, and it's always NFL Combine. So it's like, you got people picking apart these like little clips of like the best performances and putting them together. So I've only seen like all these like NFL Combine clips, and it's like, well, there's so much like there's like a lot of skilled like I just can't stop thinking about the linemen. It's like all these linemen are so fast. It's like I think I've seen like so many like videos of like linemen running like sub 5.
You think about, are these guys really human? Like,
Right.
Are they aliens?
Yeah.
Because again, like, I mean, it's such a crazy world that, it's such a big step. And of course it's professional football. It's some of the, human beings at their biggest and fastest and strongest and on the planet.
Yep.
So it is kind of wild to kind of like conceptually think about. Yeah. Have you been to any NFL games? Have you been to like, training camp or anything like that?
This past season, I think I went to 2-3 Patriots games.
Nice.
I'm fortunate enough because my dad's a season ticket holder, but it was nice seeing the Patriots didn't have the best year, but what's really amazing to me about the NFL is the rookies are just getting like better and better and better. Like I went to the Jets game here where at the end the
punt return, Marcus Jones.
Yeah, Marcus Jones. He got that
amazing
punt return to win the game. But looking at the Jets, you have people like Sauce Gardner, like one of the best DBs in the game right now, and he was like recently like a rookie.
Yeah,
and it's crazy to see like the advancement of these games just keep getting younger and younger and younger.
Yeah, and I think it's the whole thing too. I mean, you hear on sports talk all the time is like the college game becomes the professional game. Mm-hmm. So of course the college players are going to have more reps in that style and that strategy. So we'll see. I mean, it's all fun. It's exciting. It's competition. It's some cool stuff going on. I love the sports calendar.
Yeah. And there's a big uproar too in the NFL because especially with quarterbacks, everything's changed in this year. You got there's debate over, where Lamar Jackson's going to go. We just
Aaron Rodgers is still
Aaron
up.
Rodgers, maybe like a Jet.
Potentially.
Yeah, and we just got Derek Carr traded to the Saints, and Brady's gone now, and then there's all this talk about Falcons maybe signing Jimmy Garoppolo, or
that's a new one.
Yeah, I heard about that. Well, a lot of these are like pipe stuff. You see it from like Adam Schefter.
Hot takes. Yeah, from the Certruth account.
Yeah, and or some stuff like that. Maybe some mock drafts, but it's like stuff like this. It's kind of like, there's a lot of as sports kind of takes its course. There's a lot of changes going on.
No, and again, I think that's what keeps it exciting. Things are going to change. Things are shifting around.
Yep.
It is a business, right, overall. So you're not long gone are the days where you spend your whole career, with a team. We saw that here with Brady. We thought he'd, retire here, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It happens that way with a lot of quarterbacks and things like that. So I think it's one of the things that, being part of a business, that's kind of what keeps it exciting. It's marketing the business. It's marketing the off-season, especially. How do you keep people watching even when you're not playing games?
Yeah.
Sometimes I enjoy the off-season more than I do the games.
Sure.
It's like when we get to the games, okay, it's kind of, I wouldn't say drama less, but it's like the sport versus the story.
I mean, it's like the journey versus the destination. You kind of get to see like, the process of it getting built, and then sometimes the result is a little lackluster.
Yeah.
But yeah. So going on from there, we kind of touched a little bit on pro football. Have you been watching any pro basketball lately?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, are you a Celtics fan?
Oh,
I'm assuming.
big time.
Yeah, we got to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I am. Yes, I'm optimistic. It's been a little bit tricky the last few games. What do you think?
Easy. Yeah. So I was fortunate enough I guess it has its good side and bad side. I was fortunate enough to go to the Knicks game.
Oh, very good. Oh, yeah.
Very fun.
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah. It was, TD Garden's always electric. It was so nice to go. And the Knicks previously had beaten us twice, and I think this was our third time.
Yep. 0-3. I have some friends from New York City that I hear a lot about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And although it was such a good game, double overtime, it was just awesome. But I think the Celtics have some kinks to work out, like Grant Williams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, did a tough one. I think he played well last night, from what I saw, a little bit of the game.
Yep.
But I think it's one of those things, let's just manage the team until we get to the playoffs. I think we have a month left or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's just figure it out to get to the playoffs, but we got to be able to turn it on.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember, we New York, both the Nets and the Knicks kind of dethroned us a little bit. I think now, I think the Bucks are in the number 1 spot, and I don't.
Might be tough to catch.
We're number 3. I'm trying to think of who's in number 2.
Philly, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is Philadelphia, but it was a good game. I think.
How were the seats? Where'd you sit?
In TD Garden, I think almost every seat's good. It was good. I got a good view of that. We were up there in the balcony.
Did you wear a jersey or a sweatshirt, or what'd you wear?
I might get, I get some heat from this
flack
from
about
my
it?
friends, but I have a Kelly Olynyk Celtics jersey. He's my favorite. He's my favorite basketball player, and I get stuff about that all the time. But I love Kelly Olynyk. I don't know why.
It's funny. The last 2 jerseys I've owned, Celtics. So I got a Tatum jersey. I have a Tatum jersey number 0.
Yeah.
The last jersey I bought was number 0. Can you guess who it is? Previous number 0. So not Avery Bradley though. So I guess this was probably the 90s maybe.
Oh, I'm not.
Out of North Carolina, center out of North Carolina. Well, before you were born, right?
Right. I think
know. Eric Montross is his name.
That's interesting.
Yeah, look him up. Maybe you can put a clip up. We'll see. See if you can grab one.
Yeah, let's Eric Montross.
Eric Montross.
Let's insert a clip right here.
Here's Montross. Got 2. You basically get no. Here's Montross. Here's Montross.
So as you can see, I mean, he was a monster. UNC center, number 0. I bought it at one of the Olympia Sports or something like that. Because it was it was of the time when I was, I probably had some kind of job, summer job, high school job, and I made the money and I want to get some Celtics gear. So.
It's interesting to think about, but I compare the NBA to the NFL, and I think that watching old clips from the NBA and old history from the NBA is a lot more entertaining than old clips from the NFL. I feel like you see all these because
it's an interesting take.
I think it is.
We'll have to do a poll on that or something. Maybe we'll get some results.
Let's see. But there's just so much. I mean, there's a lot of history in.
So give me an example, of
sure,
NFL versus NBA.
A lot of times, I find myself, going on YouTube and watching these old NBA highlights, Shaq and Kobe.
Yep, Jordan, all that.
Yeah, stuff like that. And there's the Last Dance documentary and stuff like that. And although there's documentaries about football, and I'm sure there's highlights of that stuff, I think the electricity that you can get from a basketball court, I think basketball courts, or I was talking about this with my brother, the sport of basketball, I think it's more acclimated for quick attention span because things happen quickly, where football, it's you kind of have these.
Yeah, so it's a good point, right? So I used to work for a marketing agency called Octagon Marketing, and they would do a ton of studies in trying to figure out fan experience, right, and what fans care about. So it makes sense, right? Football, you're typically more invested in the team.
Yeah.
There's more players. You don't see faces. You see helmets and jerseys. Right? Versus basketball, which there's 12 players. You probably know everybody's name.
They build an identity.
They more so even now build a brand because they're almost individuals, and you see their faces. You see them up close on the court.
Yes.
All that stuff. So you can think about the fan experience and correlate that kind of with your fandom and how you follow the sport and all that stuff. So maybe some of that is kind of lending itself to what your thesis is.
No, yeah, you hit a great point, and I think because I was trying to formulate what I was thinking, but you really said it perfectly. It's especially with basketball players, because you kind of saw it starting with Jordan, how he kind of pioneered his own shoe. Right?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And
Jordan, right? Jordan Brand, all your buddies are buying Jordan Brand. You've never seen him play a basketball game live,
right? But it's even I was thrown the other day. Look at that.
Bread.
Even I was thrown the other day, and it's my football gloves have Jordan on them.
Yeah.
He didn't play football.
Right.
But it's the
he probably could have though. He's a monster.
Yeah.
Did you watch 30 for 30 with him? Minor league baseball.
I did not.
You gotta watch that one.
But he played for there is that clip of him. He's wearing the black and the white. Right?
Yep. Yeah. Barons, the Birmingham or Binghamton Barons. I forget which one it was.
I saw there was a poll the other day that I saw. It was who do you think was the better double sport athlete? It was Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders
or Michael Jordan.
Yeah, or Michael Jordan.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Who do you think? Do you know Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders? I mean, Deion's now he's coaching now. So.
Coaching Colorado, who as of right now, home of a former Shamrock.
Yes.
Caleb Fourier.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty cool.
But I don't know, because I kind of got into like football, like kind of like in like the new, like, you know, more recently.
And Bo Jackson's career was very short.
Yeah.
It was like one of those what could have been type thing.
Right.
And he would have been a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame either, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he would have been a Hall of Famer in either one if he stuck to it. But
Yeah.
it's one of those deals.
But kind of going back, we're talking about like, so Jordan pioneered like this whole culture of like making clothing brands and stuff. And although there's NFL players who have done that, you know, Brady has his new brand, and I'm trying to think of.
There's also Fian podcasters who have done that as well.
Yeah.
Fian Sports Media who built a
knows?
brand and still building. But continue, please.
But the thing with basketball is like these individual athletes have such a bigger brand for themselves. Like, although it's kind of like sub brands, like Tatum has like his own shoe line, part of Jordan.
Right.
You get the Kyries and all, like, you know, Steph Curry has their own shoes.
KD and Steph Curry, to your point, and all these guys.
They're having like all their own brands and stuff, and so many people are buying them. You know, middle schoolers, high schoolers, people in the, like they're all kind of providing. They're funding those, like those little individual brands. And you don't see that a lot in football, and I think it's like it is a different. Like, I think it's more flashy. Basketball, kind of has like this more like.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I don't know. I think it's marketable. It's global.
Yeah.
Basketball is definitely global. Football is becoming more global.
Yep.
But that can add to some of the excitement as well as like big markets, and certainly for their pockets. You know, in terms of the way that they're going global. NBA was ahead of the game, I think, with that. NFL is just catching up now. And the baseball, again, has its own issues in terms of their demographic overall. Yeah. So it's a wild time. It's a cool time to be a part of.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see your guys' perspective on it, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's only getting more different. And although, you know, that is good, sometimes I wonder if there's obviously going to be, like, you know, complications and stuff. Like, even look now, like, a lot of the jerseys, they're sponsored by like all this like crypto.
Oh yeah, the
stuff.
patch. You talk about the patch,
and it's like sometimes people there's like controversy over like, you know, all this crypto stuff. It's like, whoa, it's not a good source of income or whatever. It's like it's gonna all come crashing
Well, hey,
down.
if you took my financial literacy class, that's a quick plug for that.
Little plug, financial literacy.
Yeah.
Anybody looking to enroll?
Yeah,
definitely do
juniors
that.
and seniors.
Yep.
CP1 level class. I teach it here in Doran 6. So yeah, we talk about new age investing.
Yeah. So kind of, we could even. I mean, you know, we've been talking about sports, but even because I'm sure you're more than qualified to talk about that. What is your view on all this crypto stuff?
I mean, I think it's like you were saying before. It's like one of those things. It's now another option, I guess, overall, but it's very unproven. There's not enough data.
Right.
There's not enough history. You know, in my classes, we talk about the evolution of currency,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk a lot about we talk about starting with bartering and then moving on all the way to crypto.
Yeah.
You know, at one point I talk in my class is like, at one point there was this plastic thing called a credit card, and it didn't look like cash to you, so are you trusting it when you pay for it?
Yeah.
So the question is, with crypto and digital currency, is that going to be what the credit card was?
Yeah.
You know, in prior years and even before that, cash.
And you see like all this stuff like the American dollar losing or gaining its value
and
stuff like that. So is that going to happen soon with like, you know?
Yeah, I mean that was a whole other thing too in terms of the way we're, you know, the way we are, where our economy is right now.
Right.
But yeah, to me, there's not enough anything proven enough. That's the whole thing with all this digital world, NFT world, cryptocurrency world.
Yeah.
We're talking now about like living in this virtual metaverse world.
Right.
In one of my classes.
It's all like,
it's a wild thing. We actually just reviewed this in my financial literacy class about like a real estate in the digital world, in the digital space, in the metaverse. It's like, I asked my class, would you guys invest in this?
Yeah.
You know, would you buy a digital 4-bedroom house for $1,000 or $10,000? What do you think? Would you?
I mean, the basis of the idea, it sounds ridiculous to me, but like there's like,
but it's your world potentially,
right? So I'd say no, but then there's like, you look at what's going on, like there's so many people who are into this stuff, and you know, kind of talking about, I mean, this is a tip of the iceberg for like a whole other, you know, segue.
There'll be plenty of shows left.
Yeah, sure, but I think you can kind of ask the same question about like corporate companies. It's like, do they really care, or are they doing it for the money? And it's like they kind of have this whole like thing going on where they're like, They're advertising all this stuff, but how many of these CEOs and executives are really going home and putting on a VR headset and sitting in their living room? And
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I personally, I wouldn't now, but like, I mean, if you told, somebody in like the 60s, or I'm sure that's when Just Cash was
well before that.
Yeah. I'm sure if you told somebody then, hey, you're going to get a credit card, right? That's stupid.
Yeah.
And then, as stuff goes on, things change. So, I mean, I think it's personally, I think I'm entitled to my opinion. Like, I don't think it's I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
But like, who am I to say? Because the value to younger generations or different people in different scenarios could be astronomically different.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. We'll see if the world is ready for it.
Yeah.
At some point. I don't know. Who knows? If I told my wife, hey, let's buy a digital, 4-bedroom house for $10,000, I don't know what she would do.
Right.
So we'll see, though. It'll be interesting to see. I always like to get your perspective and the perspective for my class.
Yeah.
Because, again, you guys, all you know is the digital world, right? You grew up with cell phones and the digital world and email and stuff. And although, yes, that's been a part of my life a lot of the time.
Right.
There was a little bit of a time before in the world I was, in my world before that too. So
no, yeah, it's such an interesting concept, because it's like, even now, like, my parents will be like, hey, what's wrong with the TV? And I'll be like, you just got to plug this cord into this, right? And then they're like, well, how'd you do that? And I'm like, what do you mean how to, like, it's easy. But like, people grew up, like, they didn't grow up with that. Like, that's like, kids now, they're growing up with like newer stuff. And, maybe like you already see, and again, I'm not like really condoning it, but you just see like kids now, like the younger kids are getting, like, I see kids sometimes with like, their iPads out and their phones out, and it's like, everyone thinks, they're just doing this. And, maybe they are just kind of like fooling around or whatever. But like, will that early access to technology like lead to like them being able to do stuff that like kids and adults now like can't really understand?
It's a good point. So
Yeah.
I think about that in my class. So
Right.
I'll get your perspective, maybe speaking for the student body, is like, do you think the iPad is a distraction when you're doing things? Do you use it in class? Are you like a notepad guy? Like, how is that? And this is across like all your classes
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Like, what is your feeling? What is the student body feeling?
For me, I mean, like,
Teachers will be listening to this, so make sure you speak
so-
wisely here. The truth.
It kind of goes both ways. It depends on the kind of work that the teachers assign, because if they assign a digital assignment, it's so much easier for me to type out an answer, or like write in an answer, or import different documents, PDFs, and then upload my work from home and stuff like that. It's so much easier for me doing that than doing it on a physical piece of paper. Can it get like distracting? If I think people manage, I think most kids know, not to do whatever. But I'm sure, when you have like all this ability of communication and, the internet at the tip of your fingers and like a moment's notice, then like people do, obviously kind of get their attention diverted. But the ability to have that like at your fingertips, it's definitely an advantage in a lot of fields, especially academically for a lot of people.
Yeah. It's interesting to see. Because, again, I know both worlds. Like,
Right.
I'm teaching in this world now, but we didn't have laptops. We didn't have iPads. It was just notebooks when I was in high school. Even in college, too. Like, we didn't have I didn't bring laptops to my colleges, my college classes.
Right.
So I can imagine. Maybe we'll get your brother to fill us in a little bit.
Yeah,
What's the feel in college?
It's crazy because now stuff like that is like seen as like requirements and stuff for classes.
Yeah, it's
But
wild.
To kind of, I mean, we're
Where we at?
we're past where we thought we were gonna say maybe 25, 30. We're at like 37 right now.
Wow,
So
okay.
kind of wrapping it up. Any
The Max Certruth 40 minutes instead of the Joe Des hour.
So yeah, Coach Marty, do you have any closing remarks?
I mean, excited. So what are again? This is another episode, but maybe we can reiterate. Like, what's the future going to be? Are there any guests coming up? Are there certain sports? Like, what are we going to hit on? I know we're going to maybe have some other segments we're working on production wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of right now we're in like a little bit of an awkward spot because as like sports are coming to an end and football has its off season, there's not a lot of stuff I can be providing to people. So this is why these two episodes have kind of been like setting
Sort
up
of like the in between, the fillers,
right?
Yeah.
So these filler episodes aren't that interesting, but hopefully, kind of like we talked about earlier, as soon as other seasons start up, I'm just excited to start doing some new stuff with everyone and hopefully we can get some new guests on here. It kind of depends on, how people's seasons go and
Yeah.
stuff. But kind of one of my closing remarks, I guess I'll say a few things. For one, if there are any guests that want to come on, just message me and we'll get it done. I'm absolutely open to anybody who wants to come on. And there's still some T-shirts left if you want to get those. And keep tuning in and
much more to come, right?
Yeah, much more to come. So I think that's good. Thank you, everyone.